Good afternoon. Today we are going to take the last part of our fifth chapter, Diversity for Sustenance. So, previous class we have studied about the conservation and we were studying about the conservation methods. We know that if we are not protecting our biodiversity, the different kinds of plants and animals that we are seeing around us, if we are not protecting them, what happens? They will get destroyed or they will get extincted. When extincted, there will be no more on our earth. Is it clear for you? So if like this, all these birds, all these animals, all these plants get extincted, we man cannot live alone on the earth. So we are facing a very dangerous situation, that is the extinction of these animals. How this extinction of animals and birds, all these things happening? Because of the over interference of human beings, over utilization of the natural resources. Extinction means what? വംശനാശം വന്നു പോവുക. പിന്നെ അവര് എർത്തിലെ ഒരു ആ ഓർഗാനിസത്തില് ഒരു ഓർഗാനിസം പോലെ ആ സ്പീഷീസിൽ പെട്ടത് ഭൂമിയിൽ പിന്നെ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. That is extinction. Is it clear for you? So, in order to face this problem, and one of the solution is to protect them. So, how we can protect them? There are two methods. In situ conservation. There are two conservation methods. So, you keep in mind there are two conservation methods. That is in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. In situ conservation means എവിടെയാണോ ആ ഓർഗാനിസം ജീവിക്കുന്നത് അതിനെ അവിടെ തന്നെ നിലനിർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആ രീതിയെയാണ് പറയുന്നത് ഇൻ സിറ്റു കൺസർവേഷൻ. ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ലിവിംഗ് ഇൻ എ ഫോറസ്റ്റ്, ദാറ്റ് ഫോറസ്റ്റ് വിൽ ബി പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റഡ്. ഹ്യൂമൻ ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ് കുറയ്ക്കുന്നു, ആൾക്കാർക്ക് അങ്ങോട്ടുള്ള എൻട്രി കുറയ്ക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇൻ സിറ്റു കൺസർവേഷൻ. In the case of ex situ conservation, they are not in their natural habitat. Artificial ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കണം. എക്സാമ്പിൾ സൂ. ഒരു ഓർഗാനിസം അത് സൂല് എങ്ങനെയാണ്? ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ ഫോറസ്റ്റ്? നോ. ടൈഗർ എല്ലാം എവിടെയാണ് ജീവിക്കുന്നത്? ഫോറസ്റ്റിലാണ്. അവിടെ നിന്ന് അവരെ വേറൊരു ഏരിയയിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതാണ് എക്സ് സിറ്റു കൺസർവേഷൻ. എവിടെയാണോ അവർ ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നത് അവിടെ നിന്ന് വേറൊരു സ്ഥലത്തേക്ക് മാറ്റിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ അവരെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെയാണ്, അവർക്ക് വേണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ നീഡ്സ് ചെയ്തു കൊടുത്ത് അതിനെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് എക്സ് സിറ്റു കൺസർവേഷൻ. Okay, so there are some plans or there are some institutions coming under this ex situ and in situ conservation methods. What are these ex situ? What are the ex situ conservation method and what are the in situ conservation method? We can see. Now we can see the in situ conservation method. We have already taken in the previous class, but just make you clear, some more clear for you, I am explaining it once more. This page is in your textbook. You can see this page in your textbook, in situ conservation method. Okay. So in that, first comes the wildlife sanctuary. Wildlife sanctuary. These are forest areas declared as protected areas to prevent the extinction of wildlife by protecting the ecosystem. That means wildlife sanctuary എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഫോറസ്റ്റ് ഏരിയ തന്നെ പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചുള്ള ഏരിയ ആണ്. അവിടേക്ക് ഹ്യൂമൻ ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ് സാധിക്കില്ല. We cannot enter there. Okay, so that is wildlife sanctuary. And in the example, you should study the example for each ex situ and in situ conservation. In the wildlife sanctuary, example is which are the examples? Pepera, Periyar, Wayanad, etc. are the example for the wildlife sanctuary. Then next is the national parks. You can see in that picture national parks. National parks. National park. What about the national parks? There also what happens? National parks are designed to protect wildlife along with historical monuments. Not only wildlife, അവിടുത്തെ മൃഗങ്ങളെ മാത്രമല്ല historically monuments. If there are any historical monuments are there, that also is protected. And geographical features of an area, of that area is also protected. Example for national park is Iravikulam, Silent Valley, then Anamudi Shola, then Madikattan Shola, and Pambadam Shola are the national parks in Kerala. All these are examples for the national park in Kerala. You should study the example of Wildlife Sanctuary National Park. Then the community reserve. Community reserves are areas protected with the participation of public. So in populated areas, some protected areas will be there. That is protected with the help of public. These are ecologically important places. Community reserves are the ecologically important places located in populated areas. Populated area means ആൾതാമസമുള്ള സ്ഥലത്ത് വരുന്ന ecologically important ആയുള്ള സ്ഥലങ്ങൾ. The Kadalundi Community Reserve spread over the district of Malappuram and Kozhikode is an example. So the Kadalundi Community Reserve is the example for the community reserve. Okay. So these three, wildlife sanctuary, then national park, then community reserves, these three comes under the but in situ conservation method. Now there are three more coming under the in situ conservation method. Three more sections are there for you to study. You can see that now. What are the other institutions coming under the in situ conservation method? Okay. So that is so here you can see the next is a biosphere reserves. Biosphere reserves, these are vast regions designed with an aim to protect world's important ecosystems, biodiversity and genetic resources. Biosphere reserves like Nilagiri and Agasthyarkudam include areas belonging to Kerala. So biosphere reserves are the regions designed with an aim to protect the world's important ecosystem. Okay, so in the Nilgiris and Agasthyarkudam include areas belonging to Kerala too. Okay, the next comes the sacred groves. You can see in the picture sacred groves. Sacred groves means Pamugav. Okay, so these are small areas of biodiversity protected in regions inhabited by human beings. Due to changes in lifestyle, many of these which were highly biorich have been destroyed. So due to our lifestyle has changed due to the interference of humans, but nowadays sacred groves are very less in number. Only a few important only a few are remaining now. Only a few sacred groves are remaining now. Sacred groves play an important role in the conservation of water in the region too, as these sacred groves consist of so many trees in that place, but they will protect the water resource in that area also. Then ecological hotspots. Ecological hotspots are areas rich in endemic species but facing the threat of habitat destruction. അവരെവിടെയാണോ ജീവിക്കുന്നത് ആ ജീവിക്കാനുള്ള ചുറ്റുപാട് നശിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ if forest is destroyed, where does the tiger and other organisms in the forest live? They are coming to our region where the people are living, is it? So because of that habitat destruction, some organisms are getting destroyed. So in order to avoid all those things, ecological hotspots should be protected. Each hotspot is ecologically a very important area of biodiversity. Biodiversity means what? So many different kinds of plants and animals will be present in that region. Then out of this 34 hotspots all over the world. So in the world there are about 34 hotspots. In that 34 hotspots, 3 of them are in India. And which are the 3 hotspots in India? That is Western Ghats, Northeastern Himalayas and the Indo-Burma region. These are the 3 ecological hotspots that is present in our country. Is it clear for you? That's about the in situ conservation method. So which are the headings coming under the in situ conservation method? Wildlife sanctuary, national park, then community reserve, biodiversity, then ecological hotspots, then just that sacred groves, then biosphere reserves. These are these six are coming under the in situ conservation method. In situ conservation method, the organisms are protected in the area or where they are living, in the habitat where they are living. Is it clear for you? So where those organisms are living, they are protected in their habitat itself. Is it clear for you? That's about the in situ conservation method. So once more, I am repeating for you. There are two conservation methods. That is in situ conservation method and ex situ conservation method. In that in situ conservation method comes the national park, then biosphere reserves, then sacred groves, ecological hotspots, wildlife sanctuary. All this comes and community reserve. All this comes in the heading in situ conservation method, because in all these methods, what is coming in all these conservation methods, organism is protected in their habitat itself. Is it clear for you? Now we can see about the ex situ conservation method. Which are the ex situ conservation method? We can see. Okay, which are the ex situ conservation method. So the ex situ conservation method first comes the zoological gardens. Zoological garden means zoo. You all are familiar with the zoo. In that zoo, you are able to see what different kinds of animals. Okay, so ecological gardens, zoological gardens are conservation centers where different varieties of animals are protected and housed separately, and where necessary arrangements are made available for their reproduction. So in order to get the next generation, their arrangements are made for them. They are protected there by giving food and shelter. Then they also function as conservation centers of organisms which have become extinct in world. There are zoological garden at Thiruvananthapuram and Thrissur in Kerala. So in our Kerala, there are two zoological gardens that is situated in Thiruvananthapuram and Thrissur. It's familiar for you. Thrissur zoo in Thrissur is familiar for you. So there, what you are seeing, the animals that is living in the forest is taken to the zoo, and they are protecting giving the food, giving the shelter, and giving all their necessities, and they are protecting those organisms. Then botanical gardens, zoological gardens and botanical gardens. Zoological gardens means protecting the animals. Is it clear for you? Botanical garden means protecting the plants. That is, these are wide research centers where rare and important plants of diverse species are protected. അപൂർവമായി കാണപ്പെടുന്ന പ്ലാന്റ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വംശനാശം നശിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പ്ലാന്റ്സ് ഇവയെല്ലാം പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്ലേസ് ആണ് ബയോളജിക്കൽ ഗാർഡൻ. That we can identify many plants and get more information about them by visiting a botanical garden. So we have studied about the scientific naming. So plants are also having scientific name, and that scientific name of the plant will be written on near the plants we are seeing in the botanical garden. This is clear for you. Then botanical garden examples is Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Garden, Tropical Botanical Garden and Research Institute. That is JNTBGRI. You have to study the full form of that. JNTBGRI means Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden and Research Institute at Palod in Thiruvananthapuram, and Malabar Botanical Garden MBG at Olavanna in Kozhikode are examples for the botanical garden. Okay. Next is the gene banks. Gene banks means these are research centers which facilities to collect seeds and gametes to preserve them for a long time. Seeds of the plants, then gametes of the animals, all these are collected and they are preserved for a long time. Organism can be recreated out of them whenever required. So as needed, we can recreate those organisms whenever needed. Example for that is Rajiv Gandhi Center of Biotechnology at Tiruvandhapuram. That is an example. Okay, so Rajiv Gandhi Biotechnology Center at Tiruvandhapuram. Is it clear for you? That is about the ex situ conservation method. In ex situ conservation method, you have studied only 3 topics. That is zoological garden, botanical garden, and gene banks. So, in situ conservation method, you have studied about the national park, wildlife sanctuary, then community reserve, biosphere reserve, ecological hotspot, sacred groves. And in ex situ conservation method, zoological gardens, botanical gardens, and gene banks comes in the ex situ conservation method. Is it clear for you? Now, we are going to study about the certain organizations are working for the conservation of organisms. That is national and international level. There are certain organizations working for the protection of nature. We can see that which are the organizations. Okay, got the organizations working for the protection of the nature. That is IUCN and WWF. These are 2 organizations working in. And the IUCN full form is International Union for Conservation of Nature. Okay, what do you mean by IUCN? International Union for Conservation of Nature. Then IUCN is a Switzerland-based independent organization working for the protection of biodiversity. So IUCN is the Switzerland-based conservation union organization working for the conservation of the biodiversity. That's an international organization. Then WWF, that is Worldwide Fund for Nature. Biodiversity conservation, preservation of exploitation, and pollution of natural resources are the objectives of WWF. So these are the objectives of Worldwide Fund for Nature. Its headquarters is also in Switzerland, and the headquarters of Worldwide Fund for Nature is also in the Switzerland. So it's clear for you. So study about the 2 organizations. There are so many organizations, national and international organizations working for the protection of the nature. But among them, there are 2 organizations for you to study, 2 international organizations for you to study. That is IUCN and WWF. Is it clear for you? So our chapter is completed. Study well, read the chapter very well. Okay, clear the doubt through the WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.